Go, Vicky.
Good evening, everybody. Today is Wednesday, November 15th. Welcome to season 4, episode 8 of Deliberate Discussions. I am your co host, Vicki Horton.
And I'm your co-host, Patrick Parker.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have some very special guests on tonight. As you know, this past Saturday was Veterans Day, and to pay tribute to the veterans and also all over the world, but mostly to our hometown of Delray Beach, where American Legion Post 188C um, is basically, if I'm correct on this, they are suing the city because they were locked out of their own post. And tonight we have with us Mr. Delray himself. Welcome back, Reginald A. Cox. And we also have Mrs. Ernestine Holiday, one of Delray's oldest residents. And we want to ask her lots of questions. We also want to thank for bringing this attention, because this is histories that I had no idea about, and this is something very important that Deliberate Discussions takes, very, very serious. So I will go ahead and I'll hand it over to you, Patrick.
Reggie, welcome back to the show. Reggie,
thank
can
you.
You hear me?
Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Reggie, before we get started, Okay, perfect. Before we get started, before you go in, we do have a video that we want to start with, so we can just set the tone so that the audience knows, what we're talking about. Go ahead.
We got bombed, shot at, and we had to find cover at nighttime.
Vietnam veteran Imani Betts still recalls one of the toughest years of her life.
A lot of nights we spent in bunkers.
The Army veteran also remembers finding a second home at American Legion Post 188 in Delray Beach along 8th Avenue, years after returning from war.
When I found this place, it made a big difference in my life. It was a place where I could talk about my experience in Vietnam. I was the first female at this post back then.
Betts and her fellow veterans are locked out of their building.
I've seen them come, I've seen them go, I've seen them pass away.
After the city of Delray Beach terminated a 99-year land lease with the historically black post.
But the
post back then.
Betts and her fellow veterans are locked out of their building.
I've seen them come, I've seen them go. I've seen them come, I've seen them go.
We do apologize for the technical difficulties showing that video. Basically, what it is, the Army veterans in Delray Beach for the American Legion Post 188C, which I'm going to let Reginald Cox explain to you what the C means on that American Legion Post. And for those of you in the city of Delray that don't know where I'm talking about right there corner of 8th Avenue and 2nd Street. That is what we know. We used to have dances there, parties there. Recently, it was called the Karen Kitchen, where they fed homeless people from that and people in need over there. So, Reggie, can you just explain to us the history of the Delray Beach American Post 188 and also what the letter C means after that post?
Well,
Number, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Vicki. Can you everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you,
Yes,
Vicki and Thad, for having me back. It's been a while, getting ready to go into another election cycle in Delray Beach, coming up this March. So thank you for all. I understand season 5 is on we're on the horizon for season 5 in January, and we will be well into the election season come January. Matter of fact, they're going to qualify, I think, on the 21st. Qualifications means they'll be locked in. All the candidates will be locked in and be ready to go. So to answer your question, the C, you mentioned Post 188C. And if you from Delray, you know this building by the American Legion Hall. Our parents, our grandparents, great-great-grandparents. I mean, the building was built in 1947 by the black veteran. The C stands for colored. because at the time in 1947,
Wow.
the white post, which was 65, post 65 is on Easter Street. The black veterans coming back from World War II, they could not participate as part of post 65, which was the white post. And so the city granted the land, and the black veterans at the time, they built the building in 1947, and so the C stands for color.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
And so it's just it's modeling for us to be going through a property dispute in 2023. I mean, as my math serves me correct, it's been 76 years since it was built by the black veterans, and the building is the property in the lawsuit. The land is the city's, but it's their building. They've been denied access to their property, and that's what the essence of the law is about. This past Saturday, as you mentioned, there was a protest by members of the group and members of the community that basically said, you honor us in public, okay, but also if you want to honor us in public, then give back our building, okay. And
That's
so,
right.
So, Rich, let me ask you this question. So, what was the reasoning that the city gave to end the lease on the land?
So the reasoning that the city is using is basically there's some language. There was a series of leases throughout the decades, and I think the last one maybe was in the 80s, and there was some clause put in there about if either party notices a party within 180-day notice, the lease could expire with that particular notice, and so really that is the clause that they use. If you've been following this over the last 5 years, they sent a notice to someone who was deceased.
Deceased, correct. I read that.
And they use that as a segue to do their bidding. Okay. And there's also other claims on top of that, as far as the code violations and maintenance on the building, different things like that. But that never was cited up front as anything to do with them locking the post 188 members out. For example, we have codes, minimum housing standards, minimum commercial building standards. And if there's a code violation, as we know, the code, they're supposed to cite you and give you time to cure that. There's a process that's been in place for decades on how you cure code violation. That was not done. Okay, so that they're coming on top of that with an excuse. We got election season coming up. And so all these things are factors, okay, into why this is, getting some movement finally, but it seems to be moving in the wrong direction in terms of it does not have to be complicated. Give them their building back. You have pending litigation. When you have pending litigation, okay, it is not common. It is not a standard practice to go into any agreements with a third party, okay, until that pending litigation is resolved. And that's really the essence of what we have here, okay? And so, yeah, that's the issue. Like, for example, the 600, 700, and 800 block on Atlantic Avenue has been on the lawsuit for the last 3 years. The developers are suing the CRA. It is no way in hell that the CRA would entertain a proposal or put out an RFP for a proposal to a third party while they have pending litigation. And so why are we having double standards with our black veterans?
Wow.
Wow. Reggie, let me ask you this. So they basically just lock the veterans out, because I know whenever I come to the city of Delray Beach, I always frequent that area. I like to ride. I'm the type of person that, even though I've left Delray, when I do return, I like to go back and I like to visit all of the older places that I used to frequent as a child. And like I said, the last thing I remember about Post 188C was that it was used to provide hot meals for the homeless and people that needed that. But recently, they seem to have, who's behind fencing that place in and locking those veterans out? And also, where are those veterans going now? I know there aren't many left from that era, and if they are, where and who is helping these people? Because I know that was a second home to most veterans. My father is a veteran, not of that post, but he's also a veteran, and I'm just curious, where do they go now?
All right, I see Miss Ernestine has came on
Can you hear us, Miss Ernestine?
as well. I don't know if she can hear us, but
I see her.
She's trying to.
She certainly can add some history. Yeah, that's a good question. They're going to various homes in the neighborhood, various homes of the members gathering, just really different locations to do
Wow.
their business and to have meetings. So yeah, it's multiple locations, gatherings at private homes, and maybe meetings and different things of nature. Because this thing essentially, the lawsuit essentially started during the COVID era. Okay.
Okay.
And that's happening. But I think that for the viewers and old school Delray needs to know that is more than a building to us who is from Delray. It's a place. It's a gathering place.
Correct.
Right.
And there's a lot of history there.
Exactly.
It's a history. It's also a history of protection. You knew that's ours.
Correct.
Yes,
You
right.
know what I'm saying?
People
Right.
It's a safe place.
a lot of correct. I grew up there as well.
Yeah.
So not only the veterans, call it home, but just everyday people in the community call it home
Yeah.
as well.
I mean, that
You
was
can
one of the
remember
main places that
dances.
we went to on the weekend.
Correct.
The
So
parties, the
I do have
weddings.
what's the plan? What was the plan of the city? So, okay, we terminated the lease. The land belongs to us. The property, the building belongs to the veterans. What's the plan of the city? Are they going to now take possession of the building itself on the eminent domain or something, or what's their plan?
Well, it was a very interesting meeting that went on last night. Okay, the community went out last night and spoke. And that is recorded, by the way. That is recorded. Okay. As far as, so they were ready last night, the city's position, they were ready to move forward with going into an agreement with a third party to take control of Post 188C, believe it or not. They had the audacity to do that. Like I say, this past Saturday at the Veterans Day ceremony, you probably seen some of the posts on Facebook where there was a protest, a silent protest, which the mayor had the audacity to told the police to try to make us get out the building.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Yeah, the nastiness level. Yeah, the nastiness level.
Mayor Shelley Petrolia.
Yeah, oh yeah. You just wouldn't believe this stuff is going on. But then again, that's really not true. Shelley has had a long trend of toxic behavior towards our community.
Right.
Okay, and so they was ready to move forward with the deal with the third party, and the majority of the people who spoke, like I said, it's all on video. You can look at it for yourself. Basically, stood and spoke against that, and the simple message was, give them their property back.
Exactly.
Get this lawsuit settled, and then they can do business with anybody they want to. Do it the right way.
Wow. So
Okay.
when is
Reggie,
the?
let me ask you this though. I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's just so much that we need to know about what's going on. Because there's also a claim from the veterans that when they closed the post down, that a lot of those weapons, ceremonial weapons, ended up going missing. Like, I mean, where are the belongings to this generation of veterans, these Black veterans, or as it says, 188C colored veterans?
Yeah, from my understanding, Vicky, that's a mystery to where their property is. That is part of the lawsuit. What happened to their property? So that, all that should come out as this things get settled and resolved. And like I say, there's a standard out there as it relates to land use that is stated as highest and best use. You probably have heard that. Everybody wants to do the highest and best use as a standard for using the land, as it relates to how much wealth the land could generate back to the constituents. And in terms of just that principle, okay, I think a conventional wisdom would say highest and best use would be for a owner, okay, of a property, okay, to be in control of their own property.
Correct.
But and my thing is this: the CRA owns that land now, correct?
No, the city.
The city owns it.
Vicky, I understand I understand your question, but we just want to keep it in the right lane because they basically the same. The CRA is the district.
So the city of Delray Beach owns that land now, correct?
Yes.
Why is it just not as simple as signing it? Why is it not as simple as just signing it back over to whoever's in charge of that of post 188C?
Right. So some of the
May I make a comment?
Yes, ma'am.
May I make a comment?
Yes, Miss Ernestine. We was waiting. We didn't know if you could hear us or not.
Everybody,
I can hear you now. This property was leased to the city before the CRE became into existence. This goes back to 1947. So you got to think about this was post CRE. CRE didn't come into existence in the 1980s.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Ms. Ernestine, what are your thoughts on all of this?
Vicky, I just want to point out one thing just for clarity. The term property in this lawsuit, the property is associated with the building. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And then the land is used separately in this context. And there has never been a dispute about who owns the land. The city does own the land, but the building is the issue, and denying them access to the building that they built in 1947, 76 years ago, is what is at issue here. Okay. Because they originally had a 99-year lease, and so in essence, that lease really is still in effect because, like I say, how they took it or denied them of their particular property is what the essence of the lawsuit is about. And if
can I make a comment? The reason that the Karen Kitchen was in possession of this, the Karen Kitchen was being evicted from Mount Olive due to the fact that Mount Olive had a school. The veterans came to the rescue of the Karen Kitchen. Even after they let them use the property, there was still people in the community that still could use it. I had a cousin that died. His repast was there. I did a couple of wedding receptions there. In fact, my dad's 75th birthday party was held there after the Karen Kitchen had custody of it, use of it. And think about over the years, the many things that was held there and the many things that the veterans and the auxiliary did for the community. Because there are young ladies in the community that went through Girls State because of the auxiliary of the American Legion. There were young men that went to Boys State because of the veterans. You think about it, they were taught government. They went to Tallahassee, they stood in the Capitol, and they served all the positions that the senators and the representatives and so have you do in Tallahassee. These are the things that we think about. They were taught government. But what's so appalling is that when they're out there fighting for this country, good men, but the minute black veterans come back to the state and they're discharged, the audacity of them calling these men boys. That's a slap in the face and an insult to me. Because if I'm good enough to fight for this country and I'm called a man,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I get out of the service, I'm a boy,
Yeah.
I think somebody got their wires mixed up.
That's so disrespectful.
That is
It
totally
is.
Very, totally. Because with a dog, when a dog do a good deed, you give him a treat, rub his belly, and pat him on the head.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this question. So how did you all find, if they sent a letter to someone that had passed away years before, how did the veterans find out that the city had terminated the lease?
Well,
I'm not sure.
well, I mean obviously they eventually got word because
Okay.
you had the lock. You had the lock on the gate. You know, if you have a key Tuesday, get in your business, get in your house,
Mm-hmm.
and Wednesday you denied access by a padlock and a chain. I mean, obviously, you're going to inquire what's going on.
Right.
Well, back when they put that fence around there after the care and kitchen left there, there was no fence before.
Right, but that happened. Right, the care and kitchen is a different scenario. That was a different scenario. Okay, but denying the veterans access, like I say, to their building, herein lies a problem. If you're gonna put a chain in the lock and deny me access to my building without having a conversation with me, if there was an issue with me, as far as a lease or whatnot, or violations or whatever you want to bring to the table, you let me know about that and you give me time to cure that. And if you really gave a darn, based on the history and respect of that place, the veterans, there's enough bandwidth and capacity in our community. You could have got word to who you wanted to get word to.
That is true.
You understand what I'm saying? So I think oftentimes we kind of forget the underbelly of what we're dealing with here.
Correct.
Okay. And a lot of us don't want to say it. We don't want to talk about it, but the underbelly of what's happening here is just pure nastiness. There's no way in hell you would attempt to do anything against veterans over that post 65 over there on the east side of Swinton.
And I'm glad that you said that, because I was going to ask you that question, because you did say post 65 was for the whites on the other side of town. Now my question is, they have not put a lien on that property, have they?
Well, I don't think you got to remember that. Let's look at history. Let's hold up. That property, that post was constructed in 1922. We're in Jim Crow era. You understand what I'm saying? So that, I'm sure they own their land from day one and had them day one, and that one issue. And this post here, you got to remember, these are veterans coming out of World War II in 1945.
Now the post 65 is the one. Post 65 is the one directly across the tracks over near Pineapple. What is it? Pineapple Grove.
Pineapple Grove, right east of
Yes.
Yes. Right east of Pineapple.
Wow.
Grove. Right. We all the building. There's several events.
Right over there. I know exactly where it is, friend.
Yeah, I know y'all. I know y'all shaking your head. But the reason we reference that is just, we're talking about veterans in this country. I mean, in all America City, where does these sentiments go, and where did this honor go? What happened to it all of a sudden when you're dealing with post 188C? What happened to the round table? What happened to the shade tree? What happened to the level of respect that you give soldiers and people who gave their lives willingly for this country? And that just goes away magically. And the question is why?
And it's so, as I think about it, and when I come home to visit now and I get off on Atlantic Avenue and I go east on Atlantic Avenue and I see all this, everything that just looks abandoned. It's not what I grew up with on Atlantic Avenue. And then when I get past Swinton and I see all of them, when I think about this, what's happening in our neighborhood and what the city of Delray Beach is doing, I think about greed. Okay, that's the one word that comes to mind: greed, and to continue to take away from our people.
Right.
And this goes back to so many different conversations we've had previously about knowing what you're voting for.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And knowing who you're voting for.
Absolutely despicable what they are doing to our people in our neighborhoods that we grew up in, that we've built, I mean, it's absolutely insane. And I'm glad that we're going into an election season, Reggie, because I can tell you one thing for sure: Deliberate Discussions is going to beat the ground with you.
Okay, most definitely.
Absolutely.
We coming in.
We
coming in with boots.
We need grandma and them. We need grandma and them, baby dad and them, ex-baby dad and them.
Because when I tell y'all, I'm sitting here, I'm furious, I'm so heated. But Miss Ernestine on here, so I'm gonna keep.
Okay, yeah, friend, calm. We gotta have respect now.
Okay, I'm like, but when I tell you, I'm so upset just to know what they're doing to our city. And in their mind, it's like, okay, this is okay. We're just gonna continue to take their stuff.
But and this is the thing, Fadrick. And Miss Ernestine, you have been in the city of Delray Beach for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Much respect.
Only 76 years.
But that's a long time. You have seen them take.
Correct.
We've seen the good and
bad. Did you say 76-year-old?
Miss, you said 76.
I came to Delray in 1946 as a 5-year-old.
Wow, Miss Ernestine.
And the post was built.
And you got to think about these men that built this post. Yeah. These are men that didn't volunteer for the service. They were drafted. They didn't go there on their own.
They went in as boys and came out as men, and they still didn't get the respect that they deserved. But
well, you know what? That's interesting.
How much? But what Miss Ernestine has seen how much they have taken from everything west of Swinton Avenue and given it to everybody east of Swinton. Now they have come too far. 8th Avenue is too far for them to come and take away what belongs to us. I didn't fight for it, but I know those who did fight. And this really pisses me off that what is the city manager saying? What is the city attorney saying? Don't they have a say-so in just signing a piece of paper saying, hey, we're going to give it back?
The city attorney is a part of the problem, in my opinion. Okay? The city attorney is the city attorney is a part of protecting the institution. See, we cannot forget, we got to understand, this is an institution. And they constantly remind us, they don't have a problem reminding us of who they are. Okay? And this is why we have to stay engaged at every step of the way. It's really a lifetime effort, sacrifice, and contribution towards this struggle. And you do what you can on your watch. And we pass the baton to the next generation. You know, so it's not really about, you can get mind-boggling for a little bit to try to say, man, wait a minute. But it hasn't went anywhere. Look what's happening nationally. Look at the state. Look at what happened in the state of Florida. Okay, with this idiot that we have in the governor's mansion. Okay, towards our people and our history. Okay, and trying to rewrite our history and our books and So this is, and this supposed to be a Democratic stronghold in Delray, right? And so you see, you see what's changing in the audacity and the privilege for them to think that they know better about our neighborhood and our community than us is nothing less than a slap in the face and a kick in the throat.
Exactly. Well, listen, I know
a kick in the throat, a kick in the behind as well.
Correct. Correct. Well, listen, I want to thank you and Miss Ernestine for coming up on the show to talk about this situation, and we're most definitely going to stay on top of it with deliberate discussions. As
Yes.
we enter this segment, I do want to give the floor to Miss Ernestine to see if she have any final words, on this situation or any history of Delray Beach, that she want to leave with the audience tonight.
Well, Mr. Youngblood was the one that was very instrumental in building the American Legion Hall. In fact, he wrote a book, and he was telling in details. He was also, if we recall, our first black city councilman. They weren't commissioners back then. And this was back in the days when he served. And we've had Charlotte Durant, we've had Jimmy Weatherspoon, we've had Mike Bernard, we've had Angie Gray, we had Al Jaquette, we had Dave Randolph, and Shirley Johnson. The only two that is the only one that are active after they came out of office is Dave, and Jimmy sometime attended. He's working with the American Legion veteran. But it seemed that those others were only there for recognition, I would say, for power.
Hello,
Their
somebody.
power was, they were Oprah.
Yeah.
So you either love this city or you just want you're power hungry. Take it or leave it.
Love
And
it or
I
leave
feel that right now they gotta deal with people that learn from some of the best.
Right.
Okay.
And if you recall Mrs. Rowe, you recall Mr. Young, three Youngblood, Ted, Lee, and Ozzie, Bain, Mr. Pompey, Attorney Smith, and million others. Those are just some of the Zach people that died serving this community.
Right.
Yes, they
In
have.
respect to them working this hard, we shouldn't have to be fighting for the veterans to get what was built on shoulders of good men.
You're absolutely right. Miss
Absolutely right,
Ernestine
Miss
and Reggie, our producer, Vincent, he's been in the background. He's got a question for you both right now. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
I know we're way over on this segment. I'm from Delray. You probably know my father, Vincent Bruce Wheeler, Atlantic High
Yes,
School,
I
I think
do.
71
I know
class
your
president.
dad very well.
Awesome sauce. I'm Little Bruce. So I am also from Delray Beach, and my grandmother's in Delray Shores, and Zach is actually my great uncle. So
Oh, wow.
Joyce Gardenhire
Yep.
is my grandmother.
Oh, okay.
Out there in Delray Shores.
Old school
So
Sutton
Sutton. We built Sutton Chapel.
Chapel. Hey, you
I remember
talking?
that. Mildred Sweet and my grandmother's comforters built New Jerusalem also on Friday
Yeah.
nights over there next to the old vegetable
My granduncle's Herbert Young.
Okay, well then we all the same family.
Same
We all the
page.
same family. I really did a lot of research on this topic. I'm ex-military. I'm ex-Navy. Actually was on USS Enterprise. Did a tour in '96. Actually did 3 war campaigns in '96 in 1 year. Had a great time in 6 months. So I am also a veteran. I'm also suffering from PTSD. I'm also suffering from a lot of veteran-based mental illnesses. I'm honest about it. I walk in the room with it on my sleeve. I own my mental illness because it is just in my head, right? I can't put it on nobody else. But so this was a very intriguing, when I got out in '98, missing step to my transition to civilian life was having activity in the local area for somebody like me to go to that could maybe not have to go to the VA or not have to go see a white therapist, or just talk to some brothers that got out in 75 from Vietnam that got worse problems than me, right? Where I think my little 3 wars in 96, just building bombs and putting them on an airplane, ain't has
Do
nothing
you
to do with somebody in 75 or 71 actually being boots on the ground. But where I want to
veteran?
segue,
Do you
I'm
remember
sorry.
Pee Wee Richardson?
Yes,
Pee Wee is suffering from what's that, yellow, Agent Orange.
yes, a
He
lot of
had
us
suffered
are.
from
Yes.
Agent Orange for
And
years.
if it was after 1985, they won't diagnose you with it because technically, wink, wink, we weren't using it anymore. So a lot of the people, even on the Enterprise with us, we were in the shipyards, came up with it from us breaking down the ship with the asbestos and Agent Orange there from 1981 or 70. But I want to digress to this question. I do apologize because it's an important question that I had from my research on this topic. There was a statement that I read from a news article in 2019 on this, saying that the city went and got an appraisal from probably the contractors they wanted to take the property to, right? And they are saying in order to, if we wanted to come back and take this building, we'd have to be in charge of renovations. And if we renovated the building, they would go back into the 26 years or 25 years left on that 99-year lease, but it was about the renovations. Now, did we ever get back to that conversation, or did we get any secondary estimates from someone that's not in cahoots with the city to
Mm.
get the contract on what it would cost to not only renovate, let's go in and let's build it even better, right? If we own the building and we still got 26 years left, well, how do we rebuild this? Almost like Boynton did with their water tower, right? When
Mm-hmm.
Boynton rebuilt that water tower, they built a whole African heritage thing across the street from
Hello.
that rebuild of the old Boynton water tower over there. So sometimes, and I think it was a quote, that sometimes in the chaos we find clarity. Have anyone readdressed that conversation about us just taking over and revamping the building?
Yeah, let me say this to that. Remember, I stated there's an election coming. Okay, anytime there's an election coming in Delray, you do get some kind of movement on some of the atrocities that's going on, because they know our community can swing any election. Okay, that's a known fact. So
That's
as a
right.
result
That's
of
fact.
that, they called a mediation. Okay, a mediation a couple months ago to try to get in front of this thing. During that mediation, we learned that they really was playing hardball, and the attorney for the post asked for more time to go back to look at exactly what you're saying, to look at some options, okay, and with their own experts, okay, give them the key. They say give them the key, let them go in there and check the building out and get their own experts, because we ain't trying to hear nothing you got to say. And they said no, okay, they said no, and they were going to move forward with an agreement with a third party, which landed at the meeting last night, and by way of a protest at the ceremony of the veterans this past Saturday on Veterans Day. Okay, so that was an attempt to do that. Now the time that he asked for, because of the fact we went there last night and they tabled the item. Okay, time now has been that could be looked at as a win, because now they got to go back to the table and have more discussions. Okay, well, I'm not saying that out of the it could be some good come out of this chaos. We hope that's the case, but the highest and best approach is you give me my property back, and then we can talk about all the rest of that.
That's right.
Correct.
Wow. So Reggie, let me clarify, because I just want to just clarify when you say third party. When you say third party, you're talking about a third party purchasing the
I'm talking about third party. They're granting control of it.
Correct.
Control of
Okay,
it.
now, and I'm
Okay.
saying
And being able to
I'm
do
saying that on this show. Okay.
It's not control.
Strategically, we can talk about.
It's not control.
People know what I'm talking about, but we can talk about that further. We got y'all coming in January, and we got election season coming. We got time to. There's going to be some more compression points on this to go into more details and background on that. But that's the
It's not control. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
It's not per se control, in my opinion. based on my diligence, if they're going to destroy the building, which is the only link that you have in this argument. They own the land. I mean, Cowboys and Indians 101. Once they get rid of that building, there is no more link to that land anymore because you own the building. It is no different than these same programs they've been offering in Delray. Well, they'll give you a house, they'll put you in a house, but they own the land. That is something that, again, if you know the history of Florida, we were the original people displaced. We were the original people forced to walk in the Trail of Tears. We don't hold that conversation. It was the Florida Indian that had to walk to Oklahoma so that they can bring settlers into Florida to build Miami Beach, to build Gainesville, to build these areas. They made us leave. It's the same thing they're doing here. The strategy has not changed in colonialism. It is, if I own the land and you own the dwelling, I find a way to get everything I can from you while you're in the dwelling. And then 25 to 30 years later, my kids come back, knock down your building, and we own the land, and we're going to build a $20 million building in your $200,000 building, over building you a $20 million building, so that now you have over $5,000 in 1947 and $20 million today on their $100,000 lot. That's the missing part of the conversation that my research and diligence, even from our people, we've got to realize, how do we now get in to start taking some control in positions? We keep punting. Again, I don't want to get too deep into this because I got my own topic that I want to kick the Bobo on tonight. But I just wanted to ask that question to where we can start taking proactive stances to say, okay, if we own that building, can we get a contract from you to say, if I go to D Wade or if I go to Udonis Haslam or someone, and they say they're going to rebuild us a $25 million building on that property, we can pull cash assets off of that in the future, 30 years down the road.
All that's in play. All that's in play.
Okay.
That's why you got the lawsuit in the first place. All that's in play.
Correct. And that's when we start to change things. And I wanted to bring that up.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad that, I know that we went way over time in this segment, but I will say this conversation
is a wonderful conversation.
It's a great conversation to where I'm just like,
no, this is a much needed discussion, friend.
This is great.
I have learned so much in this conversation, being born and bred in Delray Beach, and just learning the history of the Legion, learn everything that we're talking about. I mean, thank you so much, Reggie. Thank you so much, Miss Ernestine.
I love for them to stay for my segment, because it ties them.
Oh, most definitely. If you guys will, please.
And I think it gives them more information for their topic, so they can realize who they have out there. Because I think some of the information I'm going to present in my segment, when I saw this story, and again, I don't know if we're transitioning into my segment. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be putting my segment up. The producer ain't producing.
Hold on. Before you do that,
Vincent, hold on. Vincent, hold on.
Before you do that, I do want to ask Miss Ernestine and Reggie, what is it that you can ask for our viewers and for deliberate discussions to do to help you all in this fight for our city?
I would say, go ahead, Miss Ernestine. Go ahead, Miss Ernestine.
I would say that every citizen that live in the set need to understand that there are a lot of houses that the city own their land. If they do it to the American Legion, they can do it to them. They'll be next.
That's right. That's what a land lease is.
That's what it is.
And I would add, as far as deliberate discussion, viewers and capacity, bring as much attention to this as possible. If you know someone who can do TikToks, let's get a social media campaign going, a TikTok campaign going. I like where your producer was going with the capacity that he knows that's out there from his contacts, any of your contacts. Let's put America on notice about what's going on in 3-time All-America City, Delray Beach, to their veterans. And I do think out of this chaos and dysfunction created by Shelley Petrulio, we can come out on top if we get more attention. We need national attention at this. You have to demand stuff. They ain't gonna
That's right.
give us nothing. We have to take what's ours. And I think to get national attention, somebody high up in Veterans Administration, in Miami,
let me tell you something,
in Florida, in the government,
Reggie,
bring the noise.
Let me tell you something. It's a new day because Deliberate Discussion is no longer just a little mom and pop's internet show. We know some big people in some higher places, so we gonna get some attention.
We need y'all to bring the noise to Derek.
If we got noticed by the Pentagon, we already know this is definitely gonna go a long way.
Okay,
because they don't get it. They don't get. You heard the meeting last night. You got Shelley Petroleum up there, who's essentially a lame duck. She's turned out. She's called all kind of dysfunction and toxic, and they sitting up there talking about two or three of them. We agree with her. I mean, how stupid can you be? You understand what I'm saying? So we need y'all to bring the noise.
Well, we're bringing the noise, and we appreciate.
What kind of bird agrees with it? What is a dodo bird?
The dodo
bird.
Either
a dodo bird or a cuckoo bird or both.
Yeah.
We're going to bring the noise. We most definitely going to stay involved in this story. And I know we're going to transition into the next thing. So we want you and Miss Ernestine to stay with us because Vincent is going to present something else. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Miss Ernestine Holiday and Mr. Reginald A. Cox of the Set Transformation. Please visit thesettransformation.org. Look for the Peach Umbrella. You'll see a lot of the businesses that are giving to their cause and helping. Anything that you can do for the Set Transformation, please contact Reginald Cox or Miss Ernestine Holiday. They are on Facebook, Miss Yvonne Odom. And I just want to leave it there. I mean, we have to do something to take back what is ours. Okay, our people went in there as boys, but they came out men, and it's up to us to help give them the respect that they deserve and get them 188C back. And before I do let Vincent go on, we do have some promotion. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This episode of Deliberate Discussions is brought to you tonight by Maria Marshall Bean, owner of Document Solutions Print and Copy Services. She's at 561-786-1446. If you need anything printed, any copies, color, black and white, if you need any documents scanned, email, fax, if you need binders put together, rather than go to Publix or Office Depot, please contact Document Solutions Print and Copy Services, Miss Maria Marshall Bean. Again, her phone number is area code 561-768-1446, and you heard it right here first on Deliberate Discussions. Vincent, are you there, my friend?
I was producer. I was trying to produce that segment. You know what I'm talking about? I had to give you the whole screen on that thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, our producer, he has a segment that he wants to bring to us. And this is something that is very needed, especially since we've been talking about the veterans and we just came out of Veterans Day weekend. Shout out to all of our veterans. Vincent, you're a veteran. Tell us what's on your mind tonight.
So one of the things that when I was doing a lot of research for the first segment, which became our show, which I thought was awesome, because I think that was the original plan, was to kind of make this your show. And the universe took that over when it was talking about, military and soldiers. And one of the things that I work on is mental health and mental health programs for soldiers, for men of color. It's called BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and People of Color. We're no longer the Black community. They're no longer the Indians. They're no longer the Asians. They're no longer, when we use the title BIPOC as a community, you actually consolidate the majority of the planet into the majority community, which means now we are larger than non-BIPOC issues, because Indian issues are our issues. Black issues are our issues. Mexican issues are our issues when we come together under that term of BIPOC, right? That's the entire people of color. If you have melanin, if you identify as melanin. Now, one of the things that I do research again, and I've been working on diligently, is my We Empathize, We Recover program. One of the things on that recover is mental health. The biggest thing on mental health is suicide prevention in Palm Beach County. Real big conversation we're not holding about people of color. We're not holding about men of color. We're not holding about people in general in the state of Florida. Over the last 15 years, the suicide rate for men of color has increased exponentially in Palm Beach County, as tracked by the CDC. So every effort that has been tried for military, veterans, and people of color is failing for 15 consecutive years, but money is funneling through so many programs with fiduciaries in the county, through all these adverse programs that are not helping our people and are not helping veterans. So what I did was put together just a quick 5 slides. I want to just talk about who are the people in Florida who, again, for your other issue with Reggie and Miss Ernestine, who are the people that are your market that you need to be talking to directly to bring in, and also to show you how large they are if we can figure out how to mobilize these numbers. We don't know them. We only know the individual city or daily siloed problems. So a Delray problem, again, with having that one American Legion post, maybe give us somewhere where we can meet for mental health services for PTSD, where I don't have to pay $2,000 for a haul for 2 guys to hopefully show up to help one.
Mhm.
I
That
could
would
make
be
a phone
great.
call to the American Legion Hall and get that on Wednesday nights to where if you feel you need help, you can walk in. Again, so what this is basically just incorporating here is just some CDC statistics. And again, this is directly to Florida. And I don't want to get too much technical on that. I want to get right into the details. And this first slide is just taking a look again at the state of Florida. It's highly important to understand that Florida is the largest state in America with the amount of veterans that we have. Not just, again, we have 1.4 million registered veteran population, which is 6.5% of all Floridians, not just Delray. So the largest populace in the state of Florida is veterans. So how do you get this information? You don't got to go national. You don't got to go national for your issues. You've got to motivate 1.4 million people in Florida, which is the largest voting base in the state, if you can mobilize them. The other part is they also have the highest suicide rates in the state of Florida. For veterans, the veteran suicide rate, again, for 1.4 million vets in the entire population, every 1,000 people, 40 are going to kill themselves as a veteran, as a populace. That's not of the veterans, that's of the whole state. So for every 40 people in the state of Florida, 40 veterans could kill themselves by suicide. And the top 2 reasons, which I had to share this, the first is by gunfire, obviously. And the second is by suffocation. So everything I do, I be goofy. So I'm never 100% serious. I don't know how to be. So I laughed at that one because that one was kind of weird, because you think it'd be different with the warrior mentality, but it also, and again, not funny, I guess I used the wrong word there. It's ironic that that large number of people will find the most peaceful way to get out of their pain. And I think I used the word saying funny. I found it ironic that suffocation was the second option of veterans. Again, going into this with information, I put together a Gantt chart here. And this Gantt chart breaks down what's called risk versus protection factors. One of the things with my programs I bring in, I'm off the cuss, I cuss. I don't have any of that stuff that you're worried about. Am I here to be real to you? You can't fool military people. One of the problems you have with military people are we come from a system of organization. If you don't do your job, you die.
Yeah.
There's no, I'm sorry. I was an aviational ordnanceman. I build bombs for a living. If I put a fuse in a bomb in a magazine, 7 floors on the ship wrong, I murder 5,000 men because there's nothing but bombs atop of me. So the attention to detail, the understanding of someone's just telling you something because it's in a book, over really trying to tangibly hear my story, hear my individualism, hear where I process this differently, maybe from the rest of the world, gets lost because a lot of those other programs aren't catered to veterans, to no bullshitting them, looking them in the face. and saying, bro, you messing up. Accountability, right? They get out. So, well, one of the things that, again, and this is information from the CDC, this whole entire program I'm taking are direct steps from the veteran assistance. I don't change what's already here. I try to put it in formats we can use it. So there's two categories: risk factors and protective factors. And they're two different things. Service-related injury, someone hurt their knee on a ship or marching or got shot in the leg, that's a risk factor for suicide. Transition to civilian life is one of the highest risk factors because, again, you're used to organization, used to being on time. Everybody around you has promptness. They have accountability. You're taught accountability. And then you get in civilian life that's passive aggressive as hell. And everybody's saying what they think and not what they feel. Or what, and they tricking you and they fooling you, and you have honest intentions. So those are things that are risk factors. Whereas no sense of belonging is a protective factor. I'm used to waking up every morning and being in the barracks with 85 people. And I'm used to associating with those 85 people. And we all got one singular purpose. And we all have unity. So with those different things, those are what's called protective factors. I'm protecting something personal to self. And because I can't get it in the regular world, we miss out. Now, I want to stop there to see, again, I did go through a lot of that information, but I do want to stop on this slide to see if anyone on the panel has any questions so far.
Vincent, I certainly have a question, and this is I know you did a lot of research. You did some extensive research to come up with this information, and and not to take away from this, but because this is very important, because I know personally military individuals who have come out and they have suffered from PTSD, and these are Black men, and they have no one to talk to. And correct. I just want this question also goes to Ms. Ernestine and Reggie Cox. Do you feel like the veterans of Post 188C, do you feel that those who are left have the same issues like with PTSD? I'm pretty sure, they probably weren't diagnosed with it back then, but I mean, do you feel in some type of way that this is contributing to their PTSD, their, what they've been through in the past, to have the post taken away from them in such a very disrespectful manner?
In speaking, I feel that, they was the ones that are left are probably slow responding because they didn't understand what was going on. And I think this is some of the cause of the slow response that they have given. Because people can have issues and don't realize that they have issues.
Correct.
This is true.
Correct.
So,
go ahead, Ray.
I'm sorry.
I would add to that. I agree with Ms. Ernestine, but also Vicky, there are younger, they're generational veterans that's associated with the post directly. And then, as you know, within our community, there are people in my family, I'm sure many of our families who served in the military of all ages, of all adult ages, who's affected by these consequences. And the veterans as a community, as a group, the truth be told, okay? And so it is something, with the school, school shootings and the mental health challenges within our schools and our young people across the board with, suicide, the increase in it in our community in general. And so absolutely, this situation, I don't see it, being as a community as a culture, understanding that this is not where you do thing. Okay.
And something else, people don't realize that a lot of these people come back from the war. A lot of them turn to drugs. A lot of them turn to alcohol. And this is because they can't cope with what is going on out here. I had a brother-in-law that served in the Korean conflict. He died, I guess, about maybe 10 or 15 years ago. But after he came out of the service, he was a completely different person. He was one of the nicest, humblest people in the world before going into the service. But he came back a total mess. And he never was able to, after he came out of the service, to hold down a job anymore. And this is the sad part, because these people have issues, just as Vincent said, and people just saying, oh, they're just lazy, they don't want to work. But I think a lot of it, because some of them go to sleep and they wake up, come up fighting because of the issues they had from the service. And this is really hurtful to the families, and a lot of the families can't deal with it.
Right.
Well,
wow. Let me ask you a question, Vincent. Vincent, can I ask you this? And I'm glad that you brought this up, and I love this presentation that you have here. And I'm not a veteran, but I have a fiance that is a veteran. And do you, in your case, with the things that you suffer with from being in the service, do you feel like the government has failed you?
So that's where I was gonna kind of hold a separate conversation with how we discuss someone else's issues, if they're not yours. I think sometimes we go to assuming we're helping, and I was trying to figure out the way to say that to Miss Ernestine. You can't give someone else their outcome in mental health. Your assumptions are totally wrong, because you're from Delray, I'm from Delray. How many of our kids had problems before they left for the military? The crack epidemic destroyed Delray Beach. And how many of those kids, when they graduated high school, only option, like myself, was I just want to go get a paycheck and not have to rely on nobody and figure this out, and not really want to go in the military. I had full football scholarships when I went in the Navy. I could have went to play linebacker and probably made the NFL. But my home issues drove me to the military. Then I got military issues. My community failed me when I came back. In 96, when I got back from a 6-month cruise in the Mediterranean, I also had a suicide attempt. Less than 6 months coming back from 6-month deployment. And everybody in my family just said I was crazy. So now I'm going to blame the government when I didn't get adequate support when I came home. There was no support system to hear my story. Everyone gave me their assumption. Everyone told me my outcomes. No one sat down and just listened to my story and my perspective to give me their perceptions. The problem I think right now is not enough military people are speaking up and shutting down people who don't experience this stuff. What I'm trying to do with my programs is almost like you say, a lot of times people say my body, what is it? My body, my mind is the same thing. My mind, and no one on this call can comprehend my mind, because the only part you have is the part we've held. The rest of it is in my mind. And we don't use that as a community in the Black community to say, how many of our kids, if we looked at, parents had secondary issues from the pipeline to prison, from COINTELPRO, from the government. It's failed all of us. It's not just the military people. We're the highest representation that are killing ourselves because of it. That's the difference.
A lot of people don't know how to deal with this.
Correct. No one does. So it's no different. If we look at the Black community right now for men, and we look at the Black community, suicide is the most not talked about conversation. And Black men lead that rate in Palm Beach County. because we won't
So,
talk to somebody because we were afraid
so
someone's
Vince,
going to give me the wrong outcome or give me the wrong assumption. They won't understand my personal experience. They're going to draw the wrong conclusion. And now I'm going to spiral out of control because I'm misunderstood. That was that
correct.
last step I didn't get to on that PowerPoint. How many military
Okay.
people come home? You got a guy that went on that goes over in the Army, for instance, that could go over and lose a whole entire platoon and survive. And then come back to work and you're like, hey, just go to Robert Half and work in the warehouse and walk it off. But you've never experienced a quarter of that guy's one day. That was 1 day in 12 years that he can never get past. It might have did 11 years after that day. Tucking it away, what we called it, you call it a gig line in the Navy. It's the line from your shirt that goes to your belt, that goes down to your zipper. And what you're told in the Navy when you start getting emotional is tuck your gig line. Your gig line is crooked. It's almost the man up conversation.
Correct.
So again, a lot of this is nuance, I think. And when we can start holding nuanced conversations of what we don't know, what we don't understand, we can invite people who want to conversate with us because we didn't give them any perceived outcome. I didn't tell you what I think your mental health is. I want to hear it from you, so I only get your perspective and I can individually understand you don't like clowns. And when you see a clown, you're going to swing. I can't go ask you to go work at somewhere there's clowns. But I know this about this person now individually. And again, I'm giving you an example, but that's just what I think as far as when it's a disconnect in mental health now in our community. We have assumptions that we always shoot out to our perceptions, but it's not that person's perspective because we don't know it. You're looking at the front of the TV or back of the TV. That person saw the front of the TV.
Correct. But you know what, Vincent? I think that this is most definitely a bigger conversation, and it's a great opportunity to reach a broader audience because so many people in our community, like Miss Ernestine said, and like yourself said, don't know how to deal with these problems. And it's so often, especially in our Black community, where it's beating us to be one way or to think one way or to do one thing. We're not taught this, we're not taught that. Like I made a comment to my fiance recently where I said I wasn't taught financial literacy coming up.
Correct. Yes.
That's something I've had to learn over time.
Correct.
And it's so often that us as Black people, we tend to become such a product of our environment.
But
so it's just like, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Your ability to admit your ignorance is the bridge.
Correct.
So what's happening now is mental health is the newest, hottest. I don't know if there's any church people. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I call it the new Holy Ghost off. It's like when the two different, the revival used to come, and the two different, the Church of God in Christ, a whole congregation come together, and the two church mothers had that Holy Ghost off, and that's what the mental health arena has become. So everybody's using the keywords, everybody's getting the funding, no different than the drug rehabilitation programs that got millions of dollars going through Delray, Healthier Delray, and all those organizations that our people in 15 years, statistically, are still failing. None of that money is trickling down to us because they destroyed our infrastructure. Again, the reason why I coupled this with the story before this is how they destroyed my infrastructure. Losing that post is why I have nowhere to go. Is why I'm on this show talking mental health, because I would have walked over to that post when I first started this journey for myself, and I probably would have been over there giving seminars and lectures by now. And we would have been giving people help in there, and they probably would have came and talked to me because I ain't bullshitting people. I got the problems. But you don't have enough people, everybody that's getting in front of the program and processes now, in a lot of these individual communities are doing irreparable harm to the community for money. Because they can get a grant, because they got the degrees, they got the city, they got all of the people, and it's our people that are doing this. And then they're getting the money, and then they're throwing the barbecue, but none of the military people are comfortable coming to that environment or talking to those people. Nothing is conducive. Again, you're creating an environment with your significant other that they can feel comfortable talking to you past your ignorance. and you're not taking it personal. I can't even say that to some people. They'll get mad at me for saying they don't know the word ignorant. Don't mean you're dumb or bad. It's you don't know anything
You
about
don't know.
Correct. You don't know. Exactly.
And that's the thing I'm trying to change. I am right now been banned out of every mental health institution in Palm Beach County I walked in. People treat me like a pariah. Like I've got all the tragedy stories to be in front of any of this trying to help people. I mean, I've got every checkbox of tragedy over the last 48 years to, I'm not BSing. If you know my mama's Donetta Stutter, she fought crack for 19 years. I was 21 when I first met her. I've got every tragedy in the history of tragedies to be able to do this, but there's some guy running for Congress or city councilman going to run and try to do a program with a nonprofit, and they're going to get in cahoots and become gatekeepers and keep the people who really just want to help the people out. Your leaders have failed us. Our leaders have failed us. Our community has failed us. Our vote, I've voted every day since I've been 18. I voted when I was on the ship. I voted by APO. For 3 straight years, I voted by APO. And I've never gotten anything in any of my dysfunctions. I've never gotten any resources. I've never gotten any help. I had to help myself. I had to pay out of pocket for my therapist. Because I've never used the VA or government services. I never used my BI bill. When I got out in 98, I was stuck here in Delray by myself, rebuilding my entire life to be to where I am today.
And Vincent,
I know how lonely it is for them. I'm sorry to go over.
What I want to say is what you just explained to us. This is one of the main reasons why we as a community need to help the veterans and the fighters of American Legion Post 188C. This is why we have to pull together and help these veterans, these prior veterans, the ones who are left, to get this post back.
Correct.
And not
It's
to a
needed.
third party. We need this. We need this back into the 188C organization.
Every post
inside that organization, so that way we can have gentlemen like Vincent Wheeler and other young men like the ones that I know, and I'm not going to call their names, but I know at least 3 that are going through PTSD and talking about suicide. They think of suicide, and no one understands them. Their family doesn't get them. And I think as a family member, I think it's just a lot easier for family to say, "Oh, he's crazy." Oh, don't bother with him. He ain't no telling what that war did to him over there. He was over there shooting guns and this and that. Da, 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 da. And they don't realize what they're saying is so damaging. And this is why getting Post 188C back is so important, so it's that critical. The current veterans will have somewhere to go and they can talk to the older veterans and say, "Hey, I'm having trouble coping. How did you cope? Can you help me get through this?" And one of those older veterans can say, "You know what, brother? Young man, I got you. I
can't do nothing. All I can do is teach you these yoga breathing exercises and give you this sandwich. That's the truth. I can't do nothing. Crazy. I can't do nothing for you. But what I can do is sit down and listen to you and help you take a look at trying to build the you want to be. And not for anybody else. For you. Everything I am in me was built for me. The blessing of everybody cutting me off in my family to a point was I only had me, and I loved me enough to rebuild me after my darkest day.
Right.
So again, this is why this post, again, I had to couple this story, and I apologize for throwing my topic on your story. But I feel in my life, I honestly, if you want me to get in front of anybody, if you can find me 9 other military veterans that want to sit down with me and hold a forum to talk to we go to schools, whatever you want to do, and couple it with that post, use me as a tool. I'll get up there and tell my horror stories. I'll be a man. I am man enough to discuss everything I did to myself in the open.
Wow.
If that's going to help one person in the crowd, not have to face what I tried to do to myself behind closed doors.
I do want to say this. I did not expect this conversation to go this way.
I didn't either.
I thank y'all.
we would get through our segment and we'll be done. But I will say I'm so grateful that it went this way, because this conversation has just opened up so much for me. And I want to say something personally to you, Vincent, and I just want to speak to you, brother. You are not alone, okay? As long as I have breath in my body, you will always be a part of me.
Yes.
I am always here for you, brother. I'm just a phone call away if I gotta hop on a plane to come see about you. I want you to know that I'm here. I got your back. You don't have to get through this alone. If I just gotta sit in a room and just listen and allow you to talk, I'm willing to do that. You always will be a part of me, brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate y'all.
We love you. And I love what you brought to this show tonight.
Yes.
It was so necessary because you have helped so many people in so many ways. And one thing that you really helped, you've even helped me, was to learn to listen. Listen to your story. When I asked you the question about the government failing you, one thing that you said that wasn't even about the government, your community.
Your community. It's about the
That's
community.
what I felt. That's what I felt.
I
did everything for Delray. I rode for Delray. I played football for Lake Worth High School. I won trophies in track and football. I played basketball. I was in ROTC. I was the perfect citizen of the county. And when I came home, what I felt was failure. Everybody reminded me of the failure I was till I believed it. And they treated me that way. I was a pariah of the community. And that's how I felt. I might be leaving some people out. There's been a lot of people away in my journey since 1998 that have been a part of my journey of why I'm here. My wife, I got my sister, Tamika Johnson. I got 16 siblings in the county. And a lot of them are also not wanting to embarrass them as the oldest male with this many siblings in the county to set the right example. But a lot of that been fake. And I thank y'all for the opportunity, man, because when everybody turned their back on me, and everybody's made me feel that way again, you and Vicky just hit me up out of the blue like, hey, come on here and tell your story to us. Like, hey, bring your presentation to us.
We love you, brother.
So I do
one thing about
one
thing about this platform, we are family. We are family.
Yes.
You understand what I'm
Reggie,
saying?
you
And
can tell him.
Reggie knows that. Reggie became a part of this family last year and has been rocking with.
I'm enjoying.
Go ahead, Rich.
Enjoy conversation. I'm enjoying.
So, but I also want
Miss
Ernestine. I know this is your first time.
We are connected.
Reggie, your connection is bad, Reggie, for some reason. I'm not sure. But Miss Ernestine, I do want you to know this is your first time here on Deliberate Discussions, but this is not your last. You are part of this family as well.
Thank you so much. Yes.
You are one of our elders of Delray Beach. You mentioned earlier in this conversation, you mentioned Zach, you mentioned all these people that did so much for our community. But I want you to understand, Miss Ernestine, you too have done a lot for Delray Beach, and we are so grateful for you.
Well, see, I remember you as modeling with my kids as a teenager. And one of these little people that I used to argue with and fuss, if you don't stop, I'm going to shake the daylights out you. See, I know you and Celeste and Alan used to be in. And I remember all you guys cutting up.
You keep us in line, Miss Ernestine. We love you, and you've done so much for our community, and we appreciate you still continuing to fight a great fight for us.
Thank you.
I just want to say, Miss Ernestine, I'm gonna tell you something. People don't know how you're on Facebook. Like, they're like, oh, my mama. Most people be like, my mama don't even know what Facebook is. She don't know how to use it. But Miss Ernestine know how to use. Miss Ernestine Holiday know how to use Facebook, y'all. Miss Ernestine, I gotta tell you, I read all of Reggie's. I read every post that Reggie had on there, every post that Andrea had, every post about the American Legion 188C. But when you broke it down and told what American Legion Post 188, and then you broke down the C, it caught my attention. And I'm like, I never knew that. And I'm just like, I said, Fabulous, tell him I sent it to you. I'm like, we got to talk about this.
What did I say, friend? We have to talk about this.
I'm like, I didn't know. I'm a resident of Delray, and I just know I used to go over there, and we went to wedding receptions, we went to parties on Friday and Saturday night, and I just never knew that it really had that much of a significant historical meaning until you put it out there. And
But Vicky,
if you all don't know, if you all don't listen to our viewers, if you don't know Ernestine Holiday, she is on Facebook. Please go like and follow her page, and you will learn so much, so very much.
Mm-hmm.
And that is
thank you, Vicky.
That's what Ms. Ernestine. Thank you so very much.
If we don't tell our own history, nobody else is going to tell it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
That's true.
That is true.
And that's who we are. We tell our own history.
That's
true. So true.
Well,
you're a godsend, Ms. Ernestine. You have given us deliberate discussions. You have given us so much information about the city of Delray Beach, about Palm Beach County. You just are, a wealth of information, and we really appreciate you for being on here tonight. Reggie, this is your home. I want to thank both of you so very much for being on here. For Vincent, I want to thank you so much for being our producer, for your segment that you brought.
I love Vincent's story.
Yes.
And Vincent was an inspiration to us. And seriously, just like he said, a lot of times there are people that didn't go to the service.
Yeah.
And have the same problems that people that did go to the service.
Yeah.
Correct. Pain has no condition.
It's the trauma of systemic racism.
So when you think of sorrow and pain, there are no conditions that you can't have that. You can't any other disease, you can have a condition, you can catch cancer. There's a condition to catch AIDS. There's a condition to catch, but when you deal with mental illnesses, it's stubbing your toe one night and never getting over it, and how that affected you individually. And I just wanted to add that. Thank you so much for y'all. All y'all, this has been really awesome.
Yes.
Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you all so very much.
Reggie, thank you so much for joining the show tonight. We appreciate you guys and all the knowledge and everything that you all brought to the show tonight. Vincent, we'll most definitely be in touch because January is coming up fast and you got to be on here for election season. So we'll be in touch, Miss Ernestine. We'll be happy to have you back as well.
Most definitely.
But thank you guys again, and y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
Reggie, can you hear me? I think Reggie, did you have anything?
Yes.
Because I think your mic is your thing. Go ahead, Reggie. I'm sorry.
No, can you hear me?
Go ahead, Reggie. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay, good. No, the show was wonderful. Looking forward to January. Thank you all again, and we got a lot of work ahead of us.
Thank you so much, Reggie. We look forward to seeing you on season 5, episode 1. Okay. Wow.
That was amazing.
That really
can we bring
amazing.
Vincent, can you come up, please?
He's playing music.
Where he go?
He's playing our exit music.
Vincent, before you go into the next thing, I need you to come up.
My bad. I was trying to cue the exit. I was trying to cue the outro down. Now I got a day job to do here now. Hey, I gotta press a lot of buttons and doodads. I can't run my mouth and press doodads.
Vincent, you are so amazing. You are the best producer.
Vincent, bro, what you brought was amazing, and thank you so much.
Your story is going to help so many people, and
that is not the last of your story. Yes. I want you to do that.
It's not about my story though. I guess all right. I don't want to take what y'all saying. I got to learn how to receive better, right? So I'm gonna stop and shut up there.
I will say this. You're right. It's not about your story. It's about your ability to teach.
Yes,
correct.
Each one.
But I got to receive better also. Part of the two-way road of recovery is when you have someone that wants to be an ally, a recovery ally. I call them mutual aid partners or members.
Mutual
Ma'ams.
aid partners.
Ma'am.
Mutual aid
Right?
mutuals.
That means we're here for mutual aid. That means you're not here to get nothing from me. You're not here for a paycheck. You're not on a clock. I'm not here in order to say a doctor or somebody said for me to come here. I came here for mutual aid. So I have to receive you the same way you have to receive me. I can't force me on you because then we can't collaborate. And then what's your worth to come into this if I'm just going to copy and place what I feel or think on top of you?
Okay.
So I have to receive. I have to learn to receive better.
Well, thank you. So I know we're like 30 minutes over.
Yeah, y'all did a whole nother show.
We're gonna label this one special edition of Deliberate Discussion.
So y'all want to just move forward with the rest of the time?
Listen,
let's do it. Hey, I'm here. Hey, look.
9:30 now.
Hey, if y'all good, we can keep rolling into the show, and then I can cut and edit it later. I ain't supposed to be saying that.
Let's just
come on live like
I'm
behind the scenes.
We can cover these next subjects in 30 minutes, but first I want
let's do it.
So I know we're live. I know we're live, but what I'll do, what I'll do is I'll take this show and then we'll break it down into smaller segments so that we can go through and probably put it on TikTok or do smaller 60-second, 30-second, 15-second segments. And then we can maybe get some stuff on TikTok and some stuff trending outside of the other social media. So let's go back into the show. I'm going to disappear. I'm going to take the music off. All right. So we're not going to end the show.
No.
We're going straight into the next topic.
Whenever you feel like it. You ain't got to stay backstage. Just come on in.
Y'all had me emotional for a minute. I'm used to being goofy. I ain't supposed to be on here teary-eyed.
You goofy when you're not goofy.
Okay.
I was ready. I was ready for the next pause. I've been prepping all day for these other parts.
Now the next one, I'm just gonna do a little bit more advertising. If you don't know, Deliberate Discussions, we do now offer promotional and advertising on our platform here. Of course, there is a fee. Please call me, Vicki Horton, 561-325-1488 if you want pricing information for your promotions. And I do want to shout out Maria Marshall Bean, owner of Document Solutions Print, Copy, and Services. She's a notary. She also does mobile notary, online notary, which is something that I, as a notary, do not do. She offers many services besides printing and copying. She offers scan service, email service, fax, and the best one I like is she offers binders and manuals. So if you are one person that hates putting binders and manuals together to get your presentation, your business proposal together, please, by all means, contact Maria Marshall Bean at Document Solutions Print and Copy Services at 561-768-1446 and tell them Deliberate Discussion sent you.
Thank you.
Y'all better use my auntie.
Yeah.
Okay.
My auntie, I said, hey. Y'all better use my auntie. I ain't playing with
This
y'all.
episode
Y'all know
is
I play
also
by
sponsored
my auntie
by
Maria.
Chaotic Clothing.
Okay.
Y'all know I don't play by auntie Maria.
Okay, so Cedric, let's move on into our next discussion. We didn't take long to deliberate on this because we've been laughing about it all week long. And part of it is funny, part of it is not. But we're going to go into the GOP, the funding bill. The funding bill moves to the Senate deadline as the shutdown approaches. And if everybody doesn't know, the government is still facing a government shutdown. And one of the things that is up on their notice is HIV funding that they were trying to cut. And fortunately, that bill, Thaddeus, correct me if I'm wrong, that bill did not pass. And we are happy that it did not.
Correct.
Because so many people depend on medication for HIV and AIDS.
Yeah, that was one of the many things that the GOP actually proposed for cutting out of the spending bill and other social services as well. With HIV being one of the biggest things of the HIV funding. And it we can go right into the video.
Yep.
I know with Kevin McCarthy, because basically the House did exactly what he had the House do a month ago, and they kicked him out of the speakership for it. They passed this bipartisan.
Ain't none of the videos want to work right today, y'all.
That's okay.
That's
okay.
Like literally
Show must go
ago,
on.
It
They
only
Yeah,
funds
now
the
let me give it a
government.
second.
Kicks the can down the road until basically
He's
January
playing.
19th, and then for a few other things,
It's
February
buffering.
2nd. It does not contain.
There's something
any
going on with
additional aid
Restream.
for Israel or Ukraine.
Yeah.
Does it have a chance in the Senate?
It's playing okay.
You hear
I
it,
think
Patrick?
it does, actually. And
Oh,
It's
not
freezing
saying
on
it's
my
that
end.
you pointed out, this is the exact thing Kevin McCarthy was kicked out for by his own fellow Republicans. They did not like that he needed to rely on Democrats to pass a
playing for
temporary
Thado?
bill, temporary funding
Yeah, it's
bill
playing for Thado,
that
not me.
would avoid a government shutdown. I have been told multiple times Mike Johnson's going to get a pass from those more hardline conservative
so can you hear me?
Republicans
Can the
he only had
audience
a few
hear me?
weeks,
Yes,
frankly,
everyone
to,
can hear you.
Okay. So unfortunately, the video is not playing on my end, and I'm not sure if the audience can see it or not. However,
It was playing very well. It was playing. I saw it streaming live on my
In
phone.
the studio, it's buffering. I
yeah,
think
in the studio is buffering.
No, that's fine. We can just go. You don't have to play it again, Vincent. We
Okay.
can just go on. So like we were saying, Vicky, that bill actually, some of the cuts to the bill actually failed miserably. So they were able to pass a clean CRA that actually will fund the government. Some parts of it will fund the government through January, and some parts will fund through February. It was a bipartisanship. In order to pass the bill, Democrats had to vote on the bill because there was tons of Republicans that actually did not vote on the bill. There was one thing also that people were upset about is that there was no funding in the bill for Israel or Ukraine as well. I don't care. I mean, it is what it is at this point, because my thing is, why should our government have to close down? But
Look at his face.
And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be any funding in the future. Let me be clear. What I'm saying is we should not be placed in a position with this close to the deadline with our government on the brink of break.
Exactly.
And that's what it's depending on. My thing is, if they're going back to the table in a couple of months to provide funding to Israel and Ukraine, I'm okay with that. But us being so close to where we are, I think it was appropriate to move forward. But there does need to be some funding in the future to those two countries. So let me just
my
clarify.
thing is
To what
this,
countries? To what
my
countries?
thing is-
Congo? You said Congo? You said the Congo?
Ukraine and Israel.
You said the Congo? You with the iPhone users that's gonna blindly look at the genocide that's going on to get y'all cobalt? See, that's how y'all be working. Y'all pick and choose. That's why color folks can't come together.
But
y'all pick and choose their issues y'all want to support while ignoring y'all
Vincent, cut
sometimes.
it out, Vincent. Cut it out.
Send some money to the Congo too then. Everybody got iPhones. It's a war over there for lithium and cobalt. All the green initiative people over there killing black people for lithium and killing black people for cobalt for iPhones.
Oh Lord.
But we're not talking about it. That's a genocide.
No.
It's been going on. It's been going on since 1930 something.
I wasn't aware.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't aware of that. So that is I'm most definitely open to that on another show.
Yeah,
but I
we're
wasn't
gonna talk about that. Vincent gets very deep. You got to go to his TikTok page and his Instagram page. He gets very deep. One of the bills that the GOP was talking about cutting spending on is the Ryan White AIDS, HIV and AIDS program. That program has been around. It's called, I think they call it RWHAP. Is RWHAP, Ryan White HIV AIDS program. And what it does is it actually fills in the gaps for care for individuals living with HIV and the AIDS virus. And a lot of these people rely on the government funding for the medication. Some of those pills, the lowest price that I was able to look up when I was doing my research, Thaddeus, one pill literally costs about $90. And that is a cheaper generic version coming out of Canada for just one pill. And imagine these people having to take one pill a day. You looking at 190 times 30. You're looking at 27, is that $2,700 a month? Just for HIV AIDS medication. So fortunately for people with HIV and AIDS, that bill was not passed. Not to say that they're not going to try to bring it up on again, but this again is one of the main reasons why Thadrick and I push registering to vote so serious. Get to know your candidates, know what they are for, know if they are pro-choice or pro-life, know if they are for or against HIV and AIDS funding, knowing if they are for or against housing funding. Those are very important things that we as a people need to know. Whether you're Black, white, Asian, Haitian, Latina, it doesn't matter. Okay, they getting ready to cut y'all asses, and they getting ready to cut your ass deep. So I mean, if I got to put it to my people that way, I'm telling you now, they're trying to cut us out of everything. And with this possible government shutdown, it didn't pass tonight, but it's possible. It's possible. At the next one, it could pass any day.
Correct. And I know we spoke highly on the HIV funding, but there's so many other things that could be possibly be up on the chopping block, with, not only this type of funding, but, Social Security, all kind of stuff, things that they're proposing. So like, again, we're going into an election season, and it's important that you know your candidates and see how they're going to represent you before you provide your vote. So we'll move into the next thing. Since we're on Congress right now.
Lord, do we have to talk about this fool? Senator. Listen, which one we want to talk about? We'll talk about Senator Mullins.
We are going. Let's go on into Senator Mullins, who challenged.
Listen, Senator Mark Wayne Mullins. Vincent, can you play the video on this one, please? Now, I'm gonna let y'all listen to this video. This man literally won in a fight.
Appreciate your demeanor today. It's quite different. But after you left here, you got pretty excited about the keyboard. In fact, you tweeted at me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And let me read what the last one said. It said, greedy CEO who pretends like he's self-made. Sir, I wish he was in the truck with me when I was building my plumbing company myself. And my wife was running the office, because I sure remember working pretty hard and long hours. Pretends like he's self-made. What a clown.
So I can see
Fraud.
It play.
Always has been.
Yeah.
Always will be.
I guess it delays for us.
And these Senate hearings.
Yeah, it's delaying for us, but it's playing.
It's not doing
any place, any time, cowboy. Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
hold
Big
on.
guy.
Stop it.
Is that your solution, everybody?
No, sit down. Sit down. You know, you're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Active.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond?
Hold it. No, sit down. If we can't, no, I have the mic. I'm sorry.
This is
Hold
what he
it.
said.
You'll have your time.
Can I respond?
Oh, no, you can't. This is a hearing. And God knows the American people have enough of contempt for Congress. Let's not
I don't
make
like
it worse.
thugs and bullies. And that's what-
I don't like you, because you
Hold
just
it.
described yourself.
Hold it.
Okay,
Last time,
we're back.
I kinda had a
I
back
really
and
hope
forth.
that was playing for our
Appreciate your
viewers. I
demeanor.
am watching.
It played.
On my other
It played.
on my other computer. And when I tell you, Thadrick, what did I text you about this silver spoon fed dude here?
Huh?
Vincent, what you got to say about this?
Hey, Carl was ready to get it in. He was ready to elbow a 90-year-old man in the Senate. Bernie Sanders, 135.
Listen.
That was the only hero in the room was Bernie Sanders.
Bernie was about that life.
I think he was scared. The man was probably gonna hit him next.
Hey, Bernie don't survive dogs. Bernie don't survive water hoses. Bernie don't walk with Martin Luther King. He don't eat bean pies with Malcolm X. He ain't scared of no country boy from Texas or wherever doing all that hooting and hollering from across the way.
I could not believe what I was witnessing. I was like, this is a member of the Senate. You are a senator. This is a Senate hearing.
Gluten free. That's what happens when you don't get gluten in your life. He needs some
And
gluten in his cheeseburger.
These are the same people that call us a bunch of ignorant N-words.
Hold on. These the same people that lock their door when you walk across the street on Atlantic. If you come by the tennis court, they're going to lock their door, but they're finna fight a whole Teamster union in the Senate.
In the Senate.
Okay. But listen, Fabulous, I like how he read the man tweet. He read number 5. He said you tweeted. He said you tweeted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. But I'm gonna read number 5.
Have receipt.
I was like, I could not believe what I was watching. I was like, is this a serious? What is going on?
But can I say
hey, y'all,
something?
wait a minute.
But again,
Wait a minute, y'all.
This is who they voted. This is who they voted.
Correct. But wait a minute, y'all. It gets better. It gets better. Carry on, Vincent. It gets better. It gets better. It gets better.
You have to be in politics to understand why we laughing so hard about this. Either you got to be in politics or you got to understand just how deep this really is.
They got it in this week, boy. Hey, Senate was like Harvard States on a Friday and the old days.
Okay. Look,
everybody met at the green thing, played spades, and got in a fist fight.
Meet me on the black road.
Okay.
There's 2 parts to this one. This one got 2 parts. This one got
the Tim one first.
No, I would not elbow.
No, not that one. Not that one,
Vincent. Play the other one.
The Tim one first. Tim Burchett first. Go Tim first. Yeah.
I thought it was McCarthy first.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Tim was first. McCarthy responded.
Okay, my bad. It's so much. See what happened? When it's so much debauchery. Oh, no, you wanted the whole story. I see what's happening.
Look,
all right.
Mullen wanted that man to meet him on the black road, baby.
So this story is a little more complicated because you got Mullins, then you got Birch account, and then you got it's like a mixtape.
So wait a minute,
this
Vincent,
like the Tupac versus Biggie rap.
So Vincent, just so you know, the Tim Mullins was a Senate hearing. Okay. The Mullins was a Senate hearing. The Tim and the Kevin McCarthy, who's a part of the House, that was a completely different situation.
Okay.
But all of it happened in the Capitol at the same.
I got it. I'm trying. All right. So you want to go McCarthy before Burchett, right?
No, I want to go Burchett before McCarthy.
Burchett before McCarthy. Okay.
Correct.
There goes Burchett.
A guy who was at one time 3 steps away from the White House to hit you with a sucker punch in the hallway.
There's been apparently a tense interaction in the Capitol hallways with Congressman Tim Burchett, who is one of the 8 Republicans who voted out Kevin McCarthy from the speakership.
Well, I was doing an interview with Claudia from NPR, and she was asking me a question, and at that time I got elbowed in the back, and it kind of caught me off guard because it was a clean shot to the kidneys, and I turned back, and there was Kevin. I chased after him. Of course, he's as I've stated many times, he's a bully with $17 million in a security detail.
He said to our colleague Melanie Zanona that this was a tight hallway. He denies this interaction. He says a tight hallway, and I bumped into him. He says that this was not an intentional thing.
There's 435 congressmen. I was one of the 8 that voted against him. That hallway was, there's plenty of room.
Now play Kevin McCarthy.
Now you can.
Now you want to hear Kevin McCarthy? Now we're gonna go to Kevin. All right.
Yeah. Go to Kevin. Kevin.
So let everybody know what's happening. It delays in our studio, but it plays online. So we're kind of delayed in our reaction. To where we're reacting to it, to where everyone's seeing it. So we're gonna go with the second part of this East Coast versus West Coast rap beef in the U.S. Senate.
No, I did not elbow him. No, I would not elbow him. I would not hit him in a kidney. HC5, you're all down there, right? Not a very big hallway. So I'm walking out. You could talk to Bruce Westerman, because I actually called him after you guys reported something. I said, did I hit somebody? Bruce Westerman and I were walking out, and I guess a reporter was interviewing Burchett or something. I guess our shoulders hit, because Burchett runs up to me after. I didn't know what he was talking about. Some reporters asked me. I did not run and hit the guy. I did not kidney punch him. I did not shoot anything like that. If I would hit somebody, they would know I hit him.
He said he knew hit him. He said he was in pain that you hit him so hard.
Come on now.
That's what he said.
Okay.
Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all something. Kevin McCarthy Kevin McCarthy is full of shit.
That man said he ain't throw no balls. He said he was listening to Ludacris when he was walking through the
Vicky,
aisle
you
in the
muted.
little room. I'm a big dude, you know what I'm talking about? And I'm just coming through listening to some Ludacris, throw them balls, and accidentally hit cuz in his number 7 spine. What is it?
Vicky, are you muted?
Yeah.
Vicky,
Muted.
unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. We can't hear her.
Type it in the chat. Cause she going off. You gotta say that. You gotta save all that good talk.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Okay.
What is up? What is up with these doggone senators, these political people, these people in Congress? Like, they are literally acting like Biggie and Tupac be for real.
Hey,
like
I'm
East
finna
Coast,
run.
West Coast shit going on right here. Like, I'm like, why, I really think they need to hold them. And Patrick, I think I texted to you. Why don't they hold these people to a higher standard? Like, if they act up, you're out. Like, what kind of senator?
No, don't do that.
Witness?
No, that's crazy. No, I disagree with y'all.
What kind of respectable
about it is,
senator
Vicky.
challenges a witness? Somebody, we can handle this now. I mean, bro, you was born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Your daddy built your plumbing company. Why you talking about, I wish you was there in my truck. Yeah, you was in your daddy's
we
truck.
ain't smacking. Why our senators ain't smacking somebody in the mouth by Trayvon? Why our senators ain't smacking somebody in the mouth by Mike Brown? I would be excited if on one of our issues that have been ignored for 500 years,
Vincent?
somebody got smacked in the
Vincent,
face for it.
Vincent, you know why? Because we are called ignorant N-words to them.
They're gonna do it if we do it
That's
or
why.
not, and then they're gonna still act
Okay.
that way.
We not
you gotta act like
I'd
them.
rather be.
Nope.
Why they get Karen a bad name? They gave us an ignorant N-word.
We
But they
took
ain't
it.
give
No, they
Karen
didn't give us
that
nothing.
kind of word.
That ain't an ignorant word. That word comes from Ethiopia. That word means God. That word means king. They took that word and bastardized it and made it bad. It's them that's bad, not us. They take our stuff and then they pervert it. And then they teach it back to us perverted. And then we repeat the perversion, and then we can't beat it because we stuck in their lies. For us to be truthful, we need to go to Congress and smack them in the mouth. We need to start threatening them for real because they know we faster than them. They know we jump higher than them. They know we stronger than them. But we keep turning the other cheek and politicians.
The thing about it is, like you said, Vicky, they should be held to a higher regard, which they should
be.
But unfortunately, there's something that's called an ethics review. If they, they can be censored, they can be voted out and everything. You have to go through so much in order to get them out of Congress. There should be some accountability. Now, in this situation, what Mullins did was despicable. That should not have happened in the Senate at all. Now, the situation between Tim and Kevin, I believe Tim.
I believe Tim too.
I wasn't there. I heard the audio.
He's a punk ass bitch.
But the thing about it is, Kevin, keep in mind, Kevin is bitter because he was voted out of his house.
Exactly.
That's all it boils down to.
Why he did
I
it.
can see him doing it.
And that's
exactly
why he did it.
It was
That's exactly why he did it.
Y'all
It'll be interesting to see what comes out of it moving forward. But Kevin is a sucker, and he sucker punched that guy in the back, and he just lying. He's trying to make it seem like, did I hit somebody? You know what the hell you did?
Let me ask you a question. Y'all remember?
You know you hit somebody. You know you elbowed that man. I can see him doing that man like that in the back. Look,
y'all remember
like
Chris Rock movie when Chris Rock ran for president and Bernie Mac was his vice president? And Bernie Mac got off the train, and from the time he got off the train, he started slapping people. As soon as he got off the train as the vice president of America, like no matter what, he was just slapping people. That's all that man was trying to do. Kevin McCarthy was trying to say, if I'm gonna be here, since I ain't gonna be the leader, I'm finna slap everybody in the congregation. He finna slap the congregation.
Kevin is bitter. But anyway, so now, I'm glad that we were able to talk about that. The last part that we have is the next story that we have is a very sad, unfortunate story. This past weekend, there was a massive fire in the city of Atlanta at the reserve at La Vista Walk. so many people have been displaced because of the negligence of two people. That's so unfortunate. We'll go into the video and then we'll come back and talk to you guys. This video is
Developing tonight, 2 people in jail and dozens of their neighbors looking for a new place to call home following a massive apartment fire happening in Northeast Atlanta last night.
And the fire ignited at the Reserve at La Vista Walk, and it burned for hours overnight. You can just see the extensive damage here. Our Atlanta News First reporter, Asia Wilson, is live now at La Vista Road. And Asia, what are these displaced residents telling you tonight?
First reporter, Asia Wilson, is live.
Well, right now the city has them at a different location right now. But speaking of that investigation, we do know that police are telling us that they believe that the fire may have started due to fireworks being ignited from the roof of this building. You can see nearly 24 hours later, crews are still investigating that right now. You can see firefighters still working to put out hot spots. 2 people now facing charges, as so many wondering what's next for this site. From the ground and the sky, total devastation. Now the view at the Reserve at La Vista Walk Apartments after a fire erupted there on Friday night. Its residents now without a place to call home.
All the residents have been displaced from this location. What we have done is, through the City of Atlanta Emergency Management Office, has established a rec center to open up as a shelter for those residents.
Many of them standing outside in the rain and cold for hours. More than 80 firefighters worked to put out the flames. Fire officials say 1 cat died and 17 people were treated for smoke inhalation and various minor but non-life-threatening injuries. Atlanta police say their preliminary investigation reveals the fire may have started due to fireworks igniting from the roof of the building. They arrested Robert Stokes and Chanel Gunn, charging them with criminal damage to property in the first degree and reckless conduct. Around 5:45 on Saturday night, Atlanta News First spoke to Battalion Chief Sean Mans off camera. He said the city's fire inspectors were looking at the building, adding that the sprinkler system was working at the time, but with the fire being above on the roof, the sprinkler system, quote, didn't do any good. He says now inspectors are working to get in contact with the owner of the building so that person can make arrangements to bring a demolition crew because the building has to be torn down. Now, the investigation continues.
The arson team's going to come in and do their investigation and come up with a final determination.
Now tonight, the city and the Red Cross are helping those displaced. Tonight, Battalion Chief Mann says Cheshire Bridge Road is now open. You can see crews or cars going in both directions, but La Vista Road right here still remains closed until further notice. We're live tonight in Northeast Atlanta. Tonight, Asia Wilson, Atlanta News First.
Asia, thank you. And that.
Hold on, Vicky. Before we're going to play the second part of this, just the first few seconds of it, because I just want to put it in context as to how this fire started.
Oh yeah, niggas thought it was Scorpio season skill. You thought it was my birthday no more? That was funny. God damn! Ah!
Okay. You can stop it. This young lady and this man was on the building celebrating her birthday. Can you hear me, Vicky?
Oh, let me just.
Oh, okay. Are you muted again, Vicky?
No, I can hear you. I was just muted because I was.
She trying to process the story.
On the building, celebrating her birthday with fireworks.
Old folks, our age. I ain't gonna say old, but my age. Folks celebrating her birthday. Where the hell, like, y'all got a whole goddamn street out there. Why the hell y'all on top of these people? Retarded.
Vicky, they done burnt down these people whole goddamn place.
And the one now barbecue. Well, nobody smoking no ribs. If you'd have burnt my house down smoking ribs, I can't get a real sandwich from you.
Listen, y'all. I don't know if y'all watched the show Frasier.
Yeah.
But there was an episode of Frasier where Niles got a little thing on some wine on his pants, and he got the wine out, And before you know it, he trying to iron the crease. He burnt his pants. Then the couch, he set the couch on fire. That's just how easy a fire could start. And that was so funny. But my thing is, bro, you up there fireworks for her birthday? It's Veterans Day. It's Veterans Day, the day before Veterans Day. Now, all of these families are misplaced. They lost everything. Come on.
And the entire building has
to
be
the building is not even that old.
No.
But the whole building, it's a nice building too. But
the entire place,
idiots, these people lost everything. And it's so
right before
everybody doesn't have renter's insurance because renter's insurance is not available everywhere. And I just want to say to the person who made that comment on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram about good for them, they should have had renter's insurance. Just so your dumb ass would know, renter's insurance is not available in all areas. So don't judge those people because all those people was doing is living, paying their rent, paying their bills, taking care of their families, and minding their own goddamn business. They was not on the roof lighting on firecrackers for old motherfucker who got a damn birthday, which is just another goddamn day. Now you done displaced everybody, and your ass in jail, facing what? Arson charges?
You know the person that said good for him got evicted. You know the person who was happy that it burned down, they got evicted, and now that's the only reason they happy. Other people got misery. Ain't no way in the world you can't tell me that.
Bitch, happy birthday! Your birthday.
You know what? Vincent Wright, they probably was like, "Damn, I'm late. I'm late on my rent anyway." But in all honesty, it's so unfortunate that all these people are now displaced, and we're going into the holiday season. And again, like you said, Vicky, to the ones that don't have renter's insurance, they now have to start all over. What if they don't have the means to move somewhere to find another place? They don't have the means to pay an application fee or a deposit, first month's rent, and things like that.
Rent is $5,000 for a studio apartment.
Exactly.
And you just burned up all this month rent, and half of your stuff you can pawn got burned up.
And these people are homeless now. Some of them.
Yes.
The Red Cross can only do so much.
Correct. I did see some, people really coming to the to the aid of these people that's been displaced. There's a local gym in the area that's allowing people to come in free of charge to take showers. There's also a real estate agent in the city that's actually finding immediate housing, if they need short-term leases and everything, that's waiving the application fees and all that stuff. So the community is coming together to help these people, but just the mere fact that you have to go through all of this.
You shouldn't have to. You really shouldn't have to go through all of that. Only because
you are forced to start over just because some idiot decided to celebrate their damn birthday on the top of a goddamn building with some fireworks. And where the hell you get fireworks from in November?
They sell them. At the Valdosta line. They illegal, but they had to have industrial fireworks because the firecrackers the firecrackers that I use, they like pop rocks. They don't even they won't even ignite nothing. I mean, what they was using, remember the Supreme, we used to put a little spongy thing on the end of a hanger from the house. I mean, what they was doing, the Supreme thing. I mean, y'all know what that is. I don't care how old I am. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
SOS pad. No, the SOS pad got so bummed. My sister said it was SOS pad. It wasn't SOS. They was called Supremes.
Correct.
And you put it on the end of a wire hanger and you stand and roll and twirl. That's what the hell they was using.
No, they had some stuff that was shooting some. That's why I'm like, where are y'all getting fireworks from in November? To be on top of a roof, and what made it? But I also feel I was listening to this other thing where someone was speaking and saying, yes, what they did was wrong, but there also needs to be a deeper investigation where they investigate the materials that was used to actually build the complex, because some things that I heard that material should not have ignited the way that it did and burnt down the entire building.
They're lucky only a cat died, and they better hope Peter don't come for their ass, because Peter, listen, in this day and age, it's all about dogs and cats. babies, and then old folks, and all us other people in between the babies and the old folks, we don't really matter. I mean, so y'all better hope Peter don't come after y'all for that police cat dying.
I'm just happy black folks using fireworks, because for the long part, we only use sparklers. And I know this is a setback for Black history. I know Black history. Listen, I'm going to look into the camera when I say this. I know we had some advancements, and we swimming now. We going on cruises. We climbing mountains. We zip
I'm not going
lining.
on no more cruises.
We ain't ready for barbecue. We ain't ready for fireworks yet, though. Let's slow down and let the city do our fireworks. That's all I'm saying.
That's what they got to for your birthday, bro. Like, seriously, you couldn't think of nothing to do for this lady to show.
It was a great idea and a horrible execution, though.
There was nothing great about that idea, Vincent.
If he did it in a park, if he took her to a park by the water, and safely ignited fireworks for his girl.
Vincent, you and I grew up in the same damn neighborhood in Frog Alley. Where the hell was we? In the damn street.
With the firecrackers and the Supremes and the
We was in the street.
Firecrackers, Supreme, and sparklers. Those was our fireworks.
We had the M80s. We used to blow up mailboxes with the M80s, the little big cat, black, red. They be red, and you put them in the mailbox or the toilet, and they blow the toilet up. The smoke bombs. We grew up with fireworks here, but listen, we did damage on purpose. We didn't do it on Big Mama roof.
No, that's exactly.
You crazy?
we knew better. But anyway, well, we're praying for everyone affected by this tragedy in Atlanta, because it is extremely unfortunate. And it's my prayer that these people are prosecuted to the full extent of the law, because what they did was
it's wrong.
Just plain old.
Honestly, I just thank God that nobody died. I mean, I don't like cats. I do feel sorry that the cat died, because I'm sure somebody loved the cat. But I mean, I'm just more concerned that these families were displaced. Pictures are hard to replace unless you have them on your phone and can get them reprinted. But a lot of pictures, from old days, they're not. And like I said, American Red Cross is only able to, from my research, help about 28 people so far that was displaced from this fire. And there's still people that made GoFundMe accounts. I'm not a fund of GoFundMe. However, that's for their own personal usage. I wish it was for a GoFundMe for everybody. Then I would probably do it. However, you heard it here at Deliberate Discussions. We're going to do some more research into this to see how we can help those families of Lake Vista Park.
So just over the last 2 days, Vicky, just so you know, with the update that some of the people whose apartments wasn't heavily affected by the fire and water damage was allowed on Tuesday, Wednesday to go back in to retrieve some of their belongings if it survived. The reason it took so long because there was still a lot of hot spots in the building, but also there was a fear that the building would collapse. So had to ensure it was safe for people to enter. Not only was it people living in the building, there were several businesses on the bottom floor of the building as well. So those business owners also lost their place as well. So we'll continue to watch the story. Continue to pray.
We'll keep you posted on that. And remember, go out there and register to vote. This election that's coming up is very close. And, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end this. However, I do want to say, if you need to advertise or promote your business, your product, your event that's coming up, please feel free to call me, Vicky Horton, 561-325-1488. We will be more than happy to create you a flyer and promote your business, product, or event that is coming up. My friend Thadrick, he does flyers. I do have the pricing for all of that. If you need flyers made for any type of event, whether it's a birthday party, baby shower, wedding invitation, save the date invitation, graduation, birthday, you name it. My friend Thadrick, he can definitely do it. Chaotic Minds, Vincent Reese Wheeler, thank you so very much for being our producer. Thank you so much for all of your input on the show and your training as well, your mentorship. We really appreciate you. Shout out to DJ Manny Raymond of UGTV Network 5. Bro, you're doing big things. I don't want to forget you. I love you so very much. Shout out to Maria Marshall Beam for posting the first ad, the first promotion with Deliberate Discussions. Again, she's at Document Solutions Print and Copy. She also does notary services. Please hit her up. Her phone number is area code 561-768-1446. Again, that number is 561-768-1446. 748-1446. Document Solutions, print and copy services. There's so much more that she does there. Please, by all means, hit her up. And if you want advertising here at Deliberate Discussions, we'll be glad to promote yours. Thadric, also, I know I'm kind of talking, rambling, whatever, but I do want to get this in. Tonight is season 4, episode 9. Next Wednesday night, the night before Thanksgiving, that will be season 4, episode 10, our last and final episode for season 4 for Deliberate Discussions, live with Vicky and Thadric. We are going to have some promotions. So if you're looking at this video while it's live streaming, good for you. Hope to see you back next week. If you're not, and you go back and you look at this video, I hope you look at it to the end, because everybody knows Deliberate Discussions does do giveaways, and we do some damn good giveaways. And trust me, we're going to be giving away some good stuff on our very last episode next Wednesday at 8 p.m. You have to be tuned in for the full entire hour. Thank you so very much for joining us with Deliberate Discussions live with Vicky and Thadric. We really appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. I am your co-host, Vicky Horton, and I have really enjoyed this conversation tonight. Thadric?
And let me say this before we go, Vicky. I want to be very clear. I know Vicky say our last episode. We ain't going nowhere. We just saw this.
Hello. That's the last episode for the season, honey.
It's our season finale of this season.
Yes.
We'll be back.
We're gonna have some fun, friend. What you get me tonight? Oh my God.
Let me tell y'all something. We will be back in January to talk shit. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Fabulous. But you know what? Like I'm feeling generous. If this is a good Christmas season for me, on our first season opener, season 5 opener, I'm gonna be giving away some gifts too. But we're definitely giving away some gifts on season 4 final episode number 10 next Wednesday at 8 p.m.
And again, a huge shout out to Reggie Cox and Miss.
Yes, thank you so very much.
That was so amazing. Huge shout out to Vincent for his segment in the show as well, and our producer in the background, our crazy producer.
Where is he? He better get his butt on here.
So we appreciate you so much, bro. This has been an amazing 2-hour and 9-minute show tonight.
Woo, yes, it
has. My fiance is upstairs, like, you better get your ass up here. So we're gonna wrap this up. But again, thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Yes, Bilal, your baby does a damn good job.
But we love you guys, and thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.